Gorgeous. And with that, we'll begin. Welcome again to our monthly meeting of the Green Olive Solidarity Network, a global advocacy and mutual aid network working in solidarity with Palestinian communities in the West Bank and toward the end of the occupation. Through this network and its local solidarity circles, we work to maintain sustained and ongoing relationships of solidarity with Palestinians, amplify the voices of activists on the ground in the occupied West Bank, and directly support the steadfastness of Palestinian communities in the face of military rule. Our dear friend, colleague, and civil resistor Eid Hathaleen was meant to join us today, but in the first weeks of April every year, humorously, there is a time difference between Jerusalem and the West Bank because Israel and the PA change the clocks at different times. And Auda is currently racing to join us. Hopefully he will be here during this call. And we would so love for everyone to hear from him as planned. May that be the case. But in the meantime, I'm very glad to be joined now by Eid Hathaleen once more, who we spoke with also this past January, for those who were present, and has graciously agreed to join us on short notice here today. As some of you will remember, Eid is a longstanding justice advocate and has been documenting home demolitions, settler attacks, and human rights violations in Masafer Yatta for many years as part of broader efforts to counter settler violence, land expropriation, and forced transfer in Area C. He is also an internationally recognized artist who, since his teenage years, has been building miniature-sized jeeps, bulldozers, and helicopters from plastic, iron, and other remains from home demolitions in Area C, and converting symbols of oppression into creative forms that can be appreciated once more. I have known Eid personally, I believe, since 2016, and I met him through the networks of trust, solidarity, and co-resistance that residents of Masafer Yatta and Eid himself have cultivated since the Second Intifada. And since that time, I'm happy to say he's become one of my dearest friends and teachers. So I'm very glad, Eid, that you're here with us now. I want to say quickly on a different note that with all of the support, solidarity, and mutual aid from everyone here and in the Green Olive Solidarity Network, we were able, as the Green Olive Collective, and along with our colleagues at All That's Left, to support residents of Il-Kheir in rehabilitating a honeybee farm 2 weeks ago. And when we joined to build the honeybee farm together, we were able to prepare the bee boxes and the land in anticipation of the arrival of the bees later this very month. So I'm excited for all of you to hear more about the honeybee project shortly and to share pictures from that day. But unfortunately, as our agricultural projects like the honeybee farm and other civil resistance initiatives have continued, the residents of Il-Kheir have also continued to face relentless settler state violence, mass demolitions, and settler attacks since we last spoke with Eid in January, representing a continued and deliberate escalation of violence against the community. We are honored to join with Eid and hopefully with Auda as the call goes on to hear more about recent events, the rehabilitation of the honeybee farm, and the steadfastness of the community in the face of military occupation. Eid, I'll pass it to you momentarily to share more yourself and hear from you and hopefully from Auda later. But just quickly, I want to share my screen so we can locate Il-Kheir on the map and see where you're joining us from today. One moment. Hope people can see this. Here, of course, is Israel-Palestine and the West Bank. I am joining with you all today from Jerusalem, and Eid is joining from the very south of the West Bank, from Masafer Yatta, the Yatta district, a series of 20 villages and hamlets located southeast of the city of Yatta and Hebron to the north. And Il-Kheir is located directly beside the Israeli settlement of Carmel, which sits on 60% of its historic land. And the community is situated on two adjoining hillsides here and where Eid lives and is, I assume, calling from today here. So with that, Eid, I'll pass it to you. Please introduce yourself for those who weren't here in the prior Solidarity Network meetings and share more with us about what's been happening since we last spoke.
Thank you, dear. Thank you very much, dear Aries, for this opportunity to talk to the friends again. My name is Eid Hathaleen. I am a resident of Umm Il-Kheir village, which is located in South Hebron Hills in the district of Masafer Yatta.
Well, just come here a sec.
Yeah, you hear me? Oh?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I mean, we living in a very tough area.
One second, Eid. We do not hear you. One moment. You should be able to unmute yourself now.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you, dear Aries, for this opportunity to talk to you again and to meet the good friends who, joining us in this event. My name is Eid Suleiman. I am a resident of Umm Il-Kheir village, which is located in South Hebron Hills area, specifically in the district of Masafer Yatta. We are living in the so-called Area C, and that's mean we're living under fully occupation, authority and military, control. As Palestinians who live under the Israeli occupation, authority. That means we have decades of violence. We have decades of inhumanity occupation. There is no equality between us and the Israeli settlers who live side by my village, nearby my village, just 2 windows from here. We live in the two different worlds, I can say. Israeli settlers, they live in the civil society as part of the state of Israel, but we live under a military control as a closed military zone all the time, which most of the time the Israeli military declared our village is a closed military zone or a training zone for military or a buffering zone for security for the settlement of Carmel. And they use all of these, excuse just for one main thing, to accuse us, abuse us in our daily life, make our life so hard. And then people will left from here. And this is the main goal nowadays by settlers and Israeli military. Since the last meeting with you guys in January, we have a lot of updates, happening in the village of Kheir and in Masafer Yatta in general, which we see a lot of violence attacks against Palestinian people in the whole area of Masafer Yatta and South Hebron Hills mountains. There is attacks every day. I can count them every day. Every day we count 1 or 2 attacks happening in all over the area of Masafer Yatta, including Il-Kheir. Il-Kheir being, attacked and assaulted by these settlers who passing in between the village. They have a main road connected to the settlements and their chicken facilities which nearby Kheir, and they use the road. Every time they use the road, they assault us with bad words, shouting to us, yelling to us, spitting to us sometimes. And we can consider that a daily life since January last time. Even we have some activists, even we have some solidarity, friends, some Jewish Americans, some Jewish Canadians, some Israeli activists also who exist here in the village and in the whole area of Masafer Yatta. And these friends, they witness by themselves this kind of violence against us in the last few months since their, period of time staying here, doing collective, protective prison in our village and society. Even though these activists, some of them have experience, were here before, and some is new, and they witnessed that attacks by themselves. I can say it's not safe anymore to stay in South Hebron Hills, really. For us as people who live in Area C, it's not safe. Every night, the night come down, we live in fear that they will come and attack and beat us so hard and they will do pogrom. In the daylight, they do a lot of, also the same story. Sometimes they bring these shepherds who came very close to the village inside the house's, border. And they want to just put themselves and their animals inside your house yard, and then you can't tell the settler, go out of my place, my property. Then the Israeli police will come and will just assume you as you attacking this, settler shepherd. 5 days, 3 days ago, before the sunset, a group of 19 shepherds from all the barns in South Hebron Hills, they gathered near Umm Il-Kheir Community Center, and they make a fire. They sit down on the benches, and they sit down nearby the house and nearby the community center. We were very afraid they will do organized attack against Umm Il-Kheir, and we call everybody, we call the authority, we call the police, and these boys with they have some sticks, they will sit down and they gathering, they yelling, and they shouting to us the whole night. Until the midnight, we were waiting and standing. Nobody sleeping that night from Umm Il-Kheir, and we expect they will do attack against Umm Il-Kheir. This is happening in the daily base. Rather, the home demolition, which we have suffered from it long decades. Umm Il-Kheir been demolished for 18 times. The last one just 1 month ago, they demolished 3 houses in the village. The last demolition was in the summer, which a massive demolition here. They demolished 11 structures for families, and they left them out without nothing to, covered in. And all this organized by the state of Israel. It's all organized by the IDF. It's all organized by the settlers who push their government. No, their government encouraging them, by the way. And settlers do all these attacks, very organized, to kick out every Palestinian out of his place and replace them with a settlement and expansion for these settlements. And you hear about the attacks in Susia, which happened many times, multiple times in Ramadan, during Ramadan, and it's happened all over Masafer Yatta. The last big pogrom was in Jinba 3 days ago. They beat Palestinians, they bleeding, and they damaged the school, they damaged the clinic, they damaged everything, and was very mess. Yeah, it's very hard. I don't know what to say, but situation is very tense, very hard for us as families and people who have children, and we raise them in this hard condition. Nearby neighbors, settlers who didn't want us to be, neighbors and staying side by side.
Thanks, Eid, for sharing all of the above and giving us a little bit more information and context and update about what's been happening since we last spoke with you in January. Some of the important things you touched on include the recent developments in Jinba and in Susia and the settler attacks that took place. Some people here no doubt heard about the attack on Susia, where Hamdan Bilal, Oscar winner, along with Basra for No Other Land, faced an attack and was arrested for being attacked by the army, along with 2 others from the village. And in Jinba, importantly, it was settler soldiers, or maybe correct me, it was soldiers who committed the attack themselves, not settlers, vigilantes. Of course, state-sanctioned violence of settlers happens frequently, but soldiers directly attacked the community. And I believe 1 was investigated and put on trial. But this is, of course, a fig leaf for what is the systemic policy of violence and frequent raids and incursions into the communities as part of this stratagem of displacement, as you described it so well, to make life unlivable so that communities in Area C move to the cities to Area A. I'm wondering if you want to share more a little bit about Ramadan and how that was this past month. We just finished with Eid al-Fitr. How was Eid in Umm Il-Kheir? How was the past month in Umm Il-Kheir? Both with all of these difficult things that are occurring and also coming together with community, families, solidarity activists. Is there anything you'd want to share about how this last holy month has been for you personally or for you, the community?
Yeah, it was very good, very good, very good occasion. Ramadan is a very special, event that you fasting the whole day. You break the fast when sun sunset, and then this year we have our friends from the Solidarity Hineno guys. They were sharing us the whole thing in our life. Some of them do fasting, with us, and we break the fast together. They share a lot of things with families, and they help. And helping, they do a lot of works, in the village. Also, they helping in agriculture. They studying Arabic with the families. This is a very very good event, and we show solidarity between Jewish people, lovely Jewish people who were doing their life, daily life with their Palestinian partners, and it's a very honor for us to share with them our values and our life. And they were very lovely, and all the time they wanted to stay and work in Kheir and help and so on. Yeah, we do a lot of work together. We do a lot of events together with these friends, and we do iftar many times, and we invite other people to join with them also. And it's a message we need to show that these people who do solidarity in Kheir and other communities in Masafer Yatta is a very important people, and they came with a message that show we standing together as humans and in front of settlers also. Not just in the whole Ramadan, day and night, we being visited by IDF day and night. Every time they came here to the village, and they look to these activists, they look to us. What are you doing? Who's these people? Sometimes they want to check their IDs. Sometimes they want to check our IDs. It's like they made them crazy. They saw these people, staying here in the village of Kheir and do solidarity here, and they asking a lot of questions about that. And my point of view was to show the soldiers, these activists here, staying, and they are do something very value and important. And as an occupier, you should see them here in Kheir standing all the time. And this is very, very, very good event was Ramadan, because people sometimes wake the whole night. Some people wake the whole night and they do some small breakfast in the morning early with activists, and they do like a solidarity and like protective presence in the night, because some people sleeping, some people waking the whole night, and then they sleep in the day. That was the idea. It's a very very great idea, and was a very important event, Ramadan and the Eid also. And we keep this, and this is our path with our friends who care about us in the in I mean in our daily life. Basically, also settlers began their olive grove nearby Kheir. They planted last time in the Tu B'Shvat, occasion, and since they plant these trees nearby Kheir, very very nearby, they keep coming and they sit down. They do, like they making fire. They sit down. Some quiet families came, and we don't. Afraid from them, but sometimes some shepherds and some violent guys came and sit down. And that's made us sometimes about our life and our property, if it's burned maybe or been attacked, whatever. And the major issue in Kheir, we are in a siege. We can't go out with our animals like years ago. Our movement is very, very, very tight, very little, very limited by the occupation, because they do all these rules against us here in our small community of Kheir. But we're trying to survive, I can say, in this circumstances.
Thanks, Eid, for sharing. And it was a delight to join in Kheir for several iftars over the last month, and join as always during the holy month of Ramadan as part of reflection and concentration on our deepest values. I also wanted to share quickly a video of a weekend, a solidarity activist training that took place about 6 weeks ago, when about 30 solidarity activists, including myself, joined in Kheir for iftar during Ramadan and talked with the community residents and experienced civil resistors like Eid about what types of human rights documentation are useful, how to engage in media work, what are best practices for engaging and de-escalating with settlers and soldiers when it's asked for by communities, and giving people the information they need to be empowered in the context of doing solidarity and protective presence work in the West Bank with communities in Area C. So I just wanted to share a video from that weekend. Hopefully you'll all be able to hear.
Say, whenever anybody expresses Palestinian solidarity, you should go to Palestine and see how they treat you. So we did. This weekend, over 20 people joined All That's Left for a training seminar in Masafer Yatta. We heard from local Palestinian activists about their life under occupation and how we could best show our solidarity. We had an amazing home-cooked Palestinian dinner, drank lots of coffee, got to know each other, and overall had an incredibly lovely time. After learning about protective presence activism, volunteers spent the morning working in a local Palestinian farm. So if you're ready to brace the horrors of Makluba and Bedouin coffee, then reach out to us, join us on the ground, engage in protective presence activism, and do your part to stand up against the occupation and apartheid. A lot of racist...
So that was the weekend we shared in Kheir, hosted by the community, along with many other evenings. Different solidarity organizations joined with communities in Masafer Yatta and the Jordan Valley and the Nablus district, where the Green Olive Solidarity Network also has ongoing partnerships. And it was very meaningful to continue in the work and be with one another during Ramadan especially. I'm excited to share more about the honeybee farm and the honeybee project specifically in just a bit. But before that, I want to open the floor. There are some people here who this evening have met Eid for the first time. There are others on this call I know who have been on the ground in Kheir over the years in different solidarity capacities and know Eid well. I want to give people a chance to ask any questions they might have, or just share any words of comment, reflection, or any sentiment you want to share with Eid. If people can raise their hands, that would be great. And I'll open the floor. Does anyone have something they want to ask or share? Oh, Leora, it seems you're raising your hand. You should be able to unmute.
Yeah, I'm just noticing that Poppy in the chat put out a question. So I'm wondering if Poppy wanted to ask that, or if you could read her question, because I don't know, I'd be interested in knowing the answer to her question.
Looking now and seeing that, Poppy. Hello, Poppy. It's good to see you on this call here. You asked about the presence of ISM, the International Solidarity Movement in Masafer Yatta. ISM has, of course, done incredible solidarity work for many decades, since the Second Intifada in Gaza and the West Bank. To my knowledge, as far as I understood, Eid has not been the one liaising or coordinating with ISM in this last while. So I don't know that Eid would have something to share, but if you want to, Eid, you're welcome to talk about the relationship between Masafer Yatta and ISM. Or if not, I think it's something that might be better directed to the activists who are directly coordinating and liaising with ISM.
Sure. I don't want to embarrass or speak sort of, out of turn. I was just wondering because having returned from serving with ISM for 3 months, but I didn't go down to Masafer Yatta for exactly the reasons that our guest was talking about. He said that it is common to stay up all night and sleep during the day. I can't sleep during the day, so I can't do overnight shifts. So I forbore to go down to Masafer Yatta, but I was interested to know whether it was true. However, if this is not the right place or the right time, I'm happy to withdraw.
No, important questions. And it was good to meet you, of course, when you were here during those 3 months.
Yeah. We met in the Jordan Valley, which was great. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've encountered incredible activists with ISM for many years. But in general, pointing to the large network and constellation of protective presence and solidarity organizations that exist is also important. Some people here are very engaged and aware of the different constellations of organizations that do solidarity work on the ground and protective presence. Some people perhaps less so. And I think Eid can speak to that directly. And of course, it's always moving for me, like Eid shared, to see the truly longstanding, profound relationships of trust and coexistence that have been built over years through investment and vulnerable action together, developing best practices and ways of being, to the point where now there are international and Jewish solidarity activists who are coming for 3-month shifts and living with the communities. And it was funny, Eid, when I met with some of the Hinenu CJNV activists at different times in Ramallah and in Jerusalem on their weekends off from Umm Il-Kheir. And they told me how they're there as solidarity activists. Of course, they're also fasting in solidarity and fell into the rhythms of community life. And it was a joy to hear and see. Peter, I see that you have either a question or something you'd like to share. Do you want to unmute yourself and ask?
Thank you. Yeah, I'm out for a walk with a baby and a dog, and it's about -10 in Canada. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
Oh, hold on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. So I've been hearing a lot since October 7th about the phenomenon of settler soldiers. And I just don't understand a ton about, because when I was there were settlers and there were soldiers. And of course, you can be a settler and then go do your army duty. But there's this new kind of settler soldier where settlers are being armed or given uniforms. I just don't understand a lot about the details of that. I'm hoping maybe both of you could explain a bit for us.
Eid, I think you can speak to it best.
Yeah, thank you. Listen, since October 7th, things changed very, very bad. It's go very, very bad since then. We suffered from settlers before October 7th so much, but after that horrific date, I mean, settlers getting more power, getting more advantage from that bad day and bad day which we have all of us in this small piece of land which called the Holy Land. Settlers been getting a military uniform for free. They were getting military equipment for free. They're getting guns for free. And they do their duty in their around settlements. And then these settlers who were criminals, some of them before October 7th, now they have more power, they have authority, and they do more violence against Palestinians, but in a legal way, by IDF uniform. And then they do our life so hard in the last year and a half from the beginning of the war. And that say it all. Settlers do the military service in their own area, and they do a lot of harassment, they do a lot of violence, they do a lot of barriers, checkpoints, shooting, attacking, beating, detaining people, detaining activists also. They do the whole thing on behalf of the IDF, on behalf of protecting themselves from Arabs around. And this is what happened since then. And the most soldiers we see in Masafer Yatta is the settler soldiers. This settler can reflect in 5 minutes with a military uniform and equipments and gears and go in the field and do the rules by himself. He decide where you go. He decide to stop you from here. He decide to push you out of there. He decide to make a buffering zone between you and the settlement. And this is the life since October 7th. Life change. We didn't see a serious law enforcement in the area. We see settlers who do their own duty on your head and in your daily life. And imagine that settlers do their duty, over occupied people. Then the life will be very hell.
Yeah, I'll only add that it speaks to the dynamic in which, after October of 2023, of course, many reserves and recruits and military personnel were sent to carry out the military operation in Gaza, and settler security forces were, in a sense, deputized. I'm not an expert on the legalese or the exact workings of the structure of command, but essentially these settler security units became empowered by the military to operate as soldiers, in a sense. Though there's been an ongoing set of dynamics between the formal command of the army and these settler security units, who have now become these settler soldier brigades. And it's important to understand what that means in terms of the heightened level of impunity and violence that's taking place, even more so than before. So thank you for that question, Peter. Jim, I see that you raised your hand and have something to ask or share.
Yeah, I have a question. Just was wondering whether activists in the West Bank or in Israel or are doing anything, or what they're doing to try to get humanitarian aid into Gaza, and what we can do. I mean, I call my members of Congress. I don't know really what we can do to get aid in there. I mean, and then of course a ceasefire. But I think right now there's no food or anything going into Gaza right now. And people are starving. So what can we do?
An important question. There very much are international and Israeli grassroots and diplomatic efforts on the ground here, as there are across the world, to halt the policy of siege and blockade and starvation that are taking place. If you're curious for specifically Israeli voices, I recommend following the page Voices Against War on Instagram that showcases weekly and regular demonstrations outside of offices and embassies and in the streets of Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, and Haifa, calling for everything you just spoke to, along with the end of collective punishment in the West Bank, given the dramatic escalations that have taken place. In specific, that's all I can say. There are people doing that work, and like everyone around the world, I don't specifically have an answer for what can be done other than continuing to engage in grassroots and diplomatic pressure on authorities. On this call and through the Green Olive Solidarity Network in these monthly meetings, we talk with our community partners in the West Bank, where we have longstanding relationships. Though, of course, we do all we can to support efforts towards a ceasefire and the end of policies of starvation in Gaza. Not sure if that was so helpful. And if you have anything to add on, or Eid, if you have anything to add on, please do. Thanks, Jim. A question that's on all of our minds, of course. Any others here have something they want to ask Eid? These calls, of course, are meant to be a space where we as the Solidarity Network can join with the communities we work with, to know one another, to speak to one another, also report back from the solidarity and activist contexts that we are in around the world. So if anyone here who has either met or not met Eid wants to just share any other sentiment that comes to mind after hearing Eid speak, or ask a question about the nature of reality in the West Bank and in Area C, it's more than welcome.
Hello, Eid. This is Marianne calling. I'm in Bethlehem at the moment in Palestine. I met you 2 years ago when I was working with community peacemaker teams in Hebron. I stayed with my husband, Randy. Your story and the story of the people infused us, inspired us, provoked us, challenged us. And so now we're back here with unarmed civilian protection in Palestine, and hoping to work more with the communities of Masafer Yatta. I just want to commend everyone on this call. I'm old school. At 67 years of age, I'm still intimidated by Zoom, and I'm grateful for Green Olive Harvest pulling us together. I want to thank you, Eid, for your work. I know that sounds pathetic, but you create a vision for hope that keeps me engaged. And I hope to honor that. And I'm just very thankful for tonight. This is my first time on this Solidarity Circle, and I'll be returning to Canada and engaging my community on this. So thank you so very much.
I'd just like to say Eid Mubarak a little bit belatedly to my dear friend Eid, and we will be in touch.
Thank you, Asher, and thank you, Marianne. And I'm also very moved coming together in this way each month and creating these sustained relationships and connections despite the physical distances that exist, and moreover, beyond the imaginative and political divisions and partitions that the occupation regime, along with most of the governments of Europe and the US, are very invested in creating and enforcing, and as part of a project of isolating Palestinians from each other and from the world, from networks of support, care, and trust that we're working to build here. Very quickly, I want to share a little bit more about the Honeybee Project and show everyone here what your support, solidarity, and mutual aid has made possible on the ground through these monthly calls, through the work you've done to grow this network, through your monthly mutual aid contributions, and all that you're really doing to concretely support the communities. So one moment, and I'll share my screen. And Eid, jump in anytime if you want to add more about the Honeybee Farm, I guess, before sharing my screen as basic context. I know that Umm Il-Kheir first started a honeybee farm in 2018 as part, of course, in the context of the West Bank, of civil resistance, existence as resistance work, and engaging in endeavors that allow the community to thrive in the face of military rule, to creatively respond to the conditions of oppression and containment that exist, and to build avenues for creative resilience and work with one another to support families economically and engage communities around them in solidarity and joint projects. So there's been a honeybee farm since 2018. Every year since then, it has become tradition for a specific constellation of solidarity organizations on the ground, including now Green Olive, to join in Il-Kheir during the honey harvests that occur twice a year, to have a tour of the honeybee farms, to support the community by purchasing the honey, which I must say is delectable. And I have some right here. I could even go and grab it. And for in the context of the Jewish New Year on Rosh Hashanah, joining every year, it happens to be, of course, that Rosh Hashanah is at a time of year in September, usually, where there is a honeybee harvest, and it's traditional during the holiday to eat apples and honey. So we go to celebrate a sweet new year of co-resistance and solidarity together. And it's been incredible over the years to see the project grow. But several years ago, I don't know exactly when, in the future, it seems that Ada won't be able to join us now, but in the future, he can tell us exactly the timeline. But settlers from Carmel, directly adjacent to Il-Kheir, complained to the army at some point several years ago that the bees were flying over the fence into the settlement. And the army came and ordered the community to remove the honeybee farm because the settlers and the army want to partition and segregate also the air and the wind themselves, it seems. So in the process of moving the honeybee farm, several of the honeybee boxes were broken, along with some normal wear and tear that's occurred over the years. So this past year, and as part of the growing initiative of the Green Olive Solidarity Network, we partnered with Il-Kheir to rehabilitate the honeybee farm, and we joined 2 weeks ago to prepare it. Here are some pictures from that day. We joined in the morning and arrived to Il-Kheir, and were greeted by Jdia, standing here at the center of the crowd. He was our guide and facilitator to begin the day. He's lovely, and I hope that we will have him also join us on one of these meetings soon. He recently graduated high school.
You're not saying.
Interesting. You didn't see?
There's a big black square over the smaller things of the pictures. At least that's what I'm seeing. I don't know if that's true for other people.
Thanks for speaking up and sharing. I'm glad. Let's fix the situation. One moment. Tech issues on Zoom. Creates incredible possibilities, but also difficult. One moment. Can you see this now?
Not yet. Yes. See one picture.
Now we can see it.
Hooray.
Yes.
Beautiful. Sorry for the hiccup. And what I was saying before is that in the middle of the room here is Jdia, a young civil resistor from Il-Kheir, who is very much becoming also an address and contact point for solidarity organizing and initiatives of different kinds. He was our guide as we arrived to Il-Kheir that morning. It was in the last weeks of Ramadan, and so the majority of the community was at the mosque in prayer on a Friday, and he oriented us and sat with us to begin the day. From there, we moved to the site of the future honeybee farm to begin to do a little bit of light landscaping and preparing. These are solidarity activists from a variety of different organizations who came together to join the day and support the initiative. As you can see, the hills are gorgeous, and there's greenery this time of year. It's really, truly stunning. And for those of you who haven't been, I really do encourage you to join on the ground through Green Olive and in general to meet in person the communities of Umm Il-Kheir and Masafer Yatta. And we had brought flowers, of course, in anticipation of the arrival of the bees, which, of course, is being brought really by all of you also. It was all of your support and mutual aid that made this possible and brought these flowers and the honeybee boxes in solidarity as part of support for this initiative of the community. Here we were clearing the land where the honeybee farm will be located, creating space for the honeybee boxes. This is Ahmed, who joined us for the day as well. After prayers ended, made us tea, of course. You can never fault Bedouin hospitality. And I know he recently had a baby, a new child, and everyone congratulated him, and we drank tea together, coffee inevitably, of course, as well. And then we worked together, planting the flowers, joining together with the children. And here's a video of the honeybee boxes being brought. Very quick. Ahmed bringing the honeybee boxes via solidarity activists, along with the community planting the flowers. And of course, finishing the day with a scrumptious iftar meal. I can't describe to you how delicious this cauliflower dish was. I don't know how it was managed, but it was truly incredible. And I just want to show you directly the reality on the ground, exactly because it's very difficult for those of us around the world to firstly have voices from activists and teachers and colleagues like Eid in a routine way. And it's very difficult to see how our actions around the world sometimes translate tangibly into solidarity on the ground. And the spirit of this solidarity network is that first and foremost through relationships, through mutual expressions of care, mutual aid, and ongoing investment in transforming the worlds we live in, we come together to change the reality, both imaginatively, discursively, politically, and on the ground. So thanks to all of you for making the Honeybee Project possible. Eid, I'm curious, as we're running out of time and we'll close in a few short minutes, if you have any other thoughts or words you'd like to share to close today's meeting.
Thank you, dear Aries, for this. I have one request. I mean, in the future, I mean, we need more activists to be in the area, or volunteers who can, give from their time to come and stay in the village or in the other village around, because we have a serious issue with protective presence, and this is a needed things in these days of violence by settlers. We have a lot of contacts. We have Hineno groups. We have there's a lot of people you can contact and just come and be part of the solidarity on the ground, and this will be very great. I mean, and of course you will be very welcome. You will have a very warm place to stay and sleep and eat, and things will be very good. Anybody want, please welcome here to the Masafer Yatta area and South Hebron Hills area. And thank you all very much for this opportunity to let me talk to you, dear friends. Thank you.
It's our honor, of course. Thank you, as always, Eid, for joining in solidarity and co-resistance. And I second Eid's sentiment that everyone is more than welcome to come in person. Green Olive has upcoming solidarity missions. You can find more information about at greenolivetours.com, and everyone is always welcome to come in person on the ground. And in the meantime, to grow this network of care, co-resistance, and solidarity, and bring more people into these relationships with Eid, with other communities in Masafer Yatta, in the Jordan Valley, and the Nablus district. With that, unfortunately, we're out of time today. So Eid, have a lovely evening and endless gratitude to you. I'm excited to speak shortly, of course. Anyone here on the monthly meeting who is perchance not already a member of the Green Olive Solidarity Network or a Solidarity Circle and would like to join this global community working to maintain sustained and direct relationships of solidarity with Masafer Yatta and other communities can learn more at the link I'm sending now in the chat. And I'll send more information also in a follow-up email along with a recording of this meeting. In the coming months, we will continue to support the steadfastness of Palestinian communities through solidarity initiatives and agricultural projects, and are excited also to once again mobilize in solidarity with the annual Boolean Kite Festival, a multi-day festival celebrating Palestinian livelihood and culture each year. Last year, monthly contributions from this network and the Solidarity Kite Flying events many of you here participated in or helped organize, both helped to make the festival a global expression of joy and solidarity in the face of military rule. This year, Ghassan from the Boolean Land and Farming Cooperative, who many of you have also met on these monthly calls, is excited to work with us again and has let me know he wants to make the festival bigger than ever. So stay tuned for updates and calls to action around that and details to come. And I'm excited to work with all of you going forward to build this network and expand the possibilities of international solidarity and partnership with communities on the ground. Have good days and see you next month for the next meeting of the Green Olive Solidarity Network. Sincere thanks again, Eid, and we'll have to have Auda join for a future meeting. Talk to everyone very soon. Have wonderful and peaceful days.
Thank you,
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eris.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shukran.
شكرا.
شكرا كثير كثير كثير.
شكرا.